They told you to wait, to prepare, to be ready, as if life would one day knock politely, hand you a script and whisper, "Now is your time." But life doesn't knock. It breaks in. It burns down what's safe. It throws you, naked, into the storm. And the question is not, were you ready? The question is, will you confront? Because you are not born whole. You are not born complete. You are not born you. You are born raw, unfinished, half asleep. And only through the confrontation, with pain, with chaos, with yourself, do you begin to emerge. Not by waiting, not by hoping, not by dreaming, but by bleeding, by choosing the fight, by becoming through fire. This is not motivation. This is war. And the battlefield is your own soul, the myth of the perfect beginning. You've been told a lie since you could first understand words, that there is a right moment, that there is a perfect state, that one day you will feel ready, and only then should you act. But here's the truth. There is no right moment. There is only now, and the terror of stepping into it. Nietzsche knew this. He called out the cowardice hidden behind preparation. He saw how humans hide behind the illusion of being unfinished, not because they are not ready, but because they are afraid of becoming. You wait for the stars to align. You wait for fear to vanish. You wait for validation, permission, approval. But the soul does not grow in waiting. It decays. Every moment you delay your confrontation with the world, the false self grows stronger. The mask becomes skin, and the one you might have become recedes into the mist. There is no preparation for the storm. There is only the leap into it. Society's illusion of destiny and talent. The world worships talent. We're told some are gifted, others are not. Some were meant for greatness. Others were meant to obey. This lie kills more potential than failure ever could. Because if you believe in destiny, you won't fight for transformation. You'll wait for fate to deliver you to yourself. But Nietzsche spits in the face of destiny. He writes, "Become who you are, not discover who you are." There is no essence waiting to be found. There is only a will waiting to be ignited. Your strength is not buried in your DNA. It's forged through decisions, one painful choice at a time. Greatness is not a gift. It is a cost. You were not born to be. You were born to become. Why comfort weakens your soul? Comfort is a slow death. It lulls you. It whispers lies. It makes the cage feel like home. The modern world feeds you sedation, dopamine, validation, distraction. It offers soft beds for tired spirits, but it never asks you to wake up. Comfort doesn't care who you could become. It only wants you quiet, compliant, safe. And the more you accept it, the less you remember how to confront. You stop asking questions. You stop feeling the fire. You lose the sacred rage that once screamed, "This is not enough." Nietzsche called this the last man, the one who no longer seeks meaning, only entertainment, the one who fears pain more than he craves transformation. If you're comfortable, beware. It means nothing is challenging you anymore. And without challenge, you rot. The necessity of existential discomfort. Discomfort is sacred. It is the doorway to the real. Why? Because when you are uncomfortable, something ancient awakens. A restlessness, a hunger, a cry from your buried self. Let me out. The pain of discomfort is not a punishment. It's a message. It's life tapping your shoulder saying, you were meant for more than this. Nietzsche revered suffering, not for its own sake, but because it burns away illusion. It strips you of the false. It humbles the ego and forces you to rebuild brick by honest brick. Only discomfort demands growth. Only confrontation reveals character. You will never feel ready to face your shadow. You will never feel ready to say the truth, to chase the dream, to fight the fear. But the deeper truth is this: readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. And it begins the moment you choose confrontation over comfort. You are not broken because you doubt. You are not lost because you fear. You are simply at the edge, the sacred edge, where the old you begins to die and the real you fights to be born. The question is not, am I ready? The question is, will I step into the fire anyway? Because you are not a finished statue. You are a chisel and a hammer, and your spirit is the stone. You don't wait to be shaped. You shape yourself. by confronting everything that stands in the way, especially yourself, suffering as the true sculptor. No great soul is formed in ease. No awakened spirit was born from stillness. It is the blow of the hammer again and again that carves the shape of the self. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the sculptor. It strips you down to the core. It reveals what is real and what is illusion. Nietzsche didn't glorify suffering. He unveiled its sacred necessity. He saw that only in breaking something eternal might emerge. You do not become strong by avoiding pain. You become strong by confronting it, embracing it, walking straight into it with open eyes. Only those who suffer know what it means to transform. How chaos confronts the false self. Chaos is not your punishment, it is your crucible. When order collapses, the mask shatters, the roles you played dissolve, and what remains, whatever, cannot be destroyed. You discover you are not the job, not the title, not the opinions of others. You are what survives the fire. Nietzsche invites us to embrace chaos, to dance with it, to see it not as enemy but initiator, because chaos forces confrontation, and confrontation burns away the lies you lived by. In chaos, the authentic begins to speak. Transformation through voluntary struggle. There is pain that wounds and pain that births. Voluntary struggle is not masochism. It is sacred rebellion. It is the moment you walk toward the fire, not away from it. You say, "Let me suffer, but let it be real." This is the will to power, not power over others, but power over the self. When you choose the path of resistance, of rigor, of risk, you awaken the creator within. Voluntary struggle is the fire that you carry into the night alone, refusing to live a lie. From victimhood to warriorhood, the world wants you weak. It celebrates the victim, not the victor. But you were not made to surrender to your wounds. You were made to transform them. A victim asks, "Why me?" A warrior asks, "What now?" Nietzsche knew that self-pity is a poison. It traps you in a loop of dependence, waiting for someone to save you. But no one is coming. You must become your own savior. Every confrontation you face is an invitation to rise, to fight, to become. Not in bitterness, but in blazing clarity. This pain will not define me. I will define myself in spite of it. You are not a passive creature floating through time. You are fire waiting for friction. You are the storm disguised as silence. Let the suffering sculpt you. Let chaos confront the false. Choose the struggle that awakens your truth, and stand not as a victim of life, but as one forged by its flame. Facing your own darkness. You think you know yourself, but you only know the parts you've rehearsed, the parts that smile in mirrors and speak in polite tones. But there's another you, one that doesn't fit in frames. It hides behind your laughter. It lives in your shame. It waits patiently in the dark. This is your shadow. Jung named it. Nietzsche danced with it, and yet most flee from it, terrified that what they'll find will confirm their worst fears. But here is the paradox. Your darkness is not your enemy, it is your entrance. Until you face it, you are not free. You are split, divided, half alive. To look into your own abyss is not to be consumed, it is to begin. Begin shedding the lie that you are only light. Begin reclaiming the rage, the lust, the chaos, not to be ruled by them, but to integrate them. You will never be whole until you embrace the parts you've disowned. The shadow as your hidden strength. What if the parts you were taught to suppress were never shameful but sacred? What if the anger you bury is your lost boundary? What if the envy you hide is your unlived desire? What if the fear you mask is your soul asking for expansion? The shadow contains not just wounds, but powers. Your authenticity, your primal energy, your refusal to be tamed. The world fears this energy because it cannot control it. That's why it taught you to shame it, to numb it, to pretend it never existed. But when you bring your shadow into the light, it transforms. No longer a demon, but a guide, a guardian of your raw, untamed essence. You don't kill your darkness. You make it serve your becoming. When confrontation becomes awakening, there is a moment, rare and sacred, when you meet yourself, not in glory, but in ruin. No mask, no story, just the ache of truth pulsing in your bones. It comes not through meditation, but through confrontation. You see yourself in the aftermath of betrayal. You see yourself in the silence after rage. You see yourself not as victim or hero, but simply, honestly, as you are. And in that moment, something awakens. Not the ego, not the mind, but the soul. It whispers, now we begin. Because only through radical self-honesty can the seed of real transformation be planted. It's not comfortable, it's not pretty, but it's real. And realness is the birthplace of power. The silence that reveals who you are. There's a silence deeper than the absence of sound. It's the silence after all roles have fallen, after the identity collapses. After you've said, I don't know who I am anymore. Good. Now we're getting somewhere. Because who you think you are was never the truth. It was a costume stitched from childhood, culture, and fear. In the silence, you hear what you've avoided. The raw longing, the sacred rage, the wild hunger for truth. You are not your name, not your image, not your past. You are the presence that watches it all burn and still chooses to stand. You are the echo of eternity, learning how to scream. In the mirror of the abyss, you don't find a villain, you don't find a god, you find something better, yourself, unapologetically, terrifyingly, magnificently real. Will to power as internal rebirth. There is a force within you, not loud, not arrogant, but fierce. It is the voice that whispers when the world screams. It is the fire that refuses to die, even in despair. Nietzsche called it the will to power, not domination over others, but creation over self. The will to rise, to rebuild, to will yourself into being, even when all evidence says you are broken. This is not motivation, this is rebirth. The sacred act of saying, I will not inherit this version of me, I will become. It is here that you stop surviving and start sculpting. You shift from echo to voice, from reaction to choice. You are not here to obey your programming. You are here to override it with will, creating yourself beyond limits. The world gave you rules. Your past gave you walls. Your fear handed you a ceiling. Break them. You were not born to fit inside the story written for you. You were born to be the author of something new. The limits you believe in are only stories told too many times. You say, this is just how I am. But who told you that? And more importantly, who benefits from you believing it? There is no fixed self. There is only movement, only will, only the sacred rebellion of saying, this ends with me. When you refuse the cage, you awaken the creator. Discipline as sacred rebellion. They sold you the lie that discipline is oppression, that freedom is doing whatever you want, whenever you want. But Nietzsche knew, true freedom is found in the mastery of self. Discipline is not punishment. It is devotion. Devotion to a vision you haven't reached yet, but believe in so fiercely that you're willing to bleed for it. The lazy soul decays in pleasure. The strong soul sacrifices comfort for creation. Every time you choose discomfort with intention, you're not suffering, you're sculpting. Discipline is not the opposite of freedom, it is the path to it. Living as a question, not an answer. The world is obsessed with answers, final truths, certainty, labels. But the self is not a definition. It is a question that never stops evolving. You are not here to be figured out. You are here to be discovered again and again, through trial, through love, through collapse. Live as a question, one that burns, one that moves you to action, to inquiry, to risk. When you live as a question, you stop pretending to know. And in that humility, you become receptive to everything that wants to shape you. The person who claims to have found themselves has only found a new box to die in. But the one who dares to remain undefined, that one becomes infinite. You are not a fixed truth. You are the fire that keeps asking, what else can I become? You are not discovered, you are built. You keep searching for sign, for meaning, for the person you were meant to be. But there is no version of you waiting to be found. There is no pre-written destiny hiding behind a corner. Only raw material, only decisions, only the forge. You are not discovered, you are built. Built in the silence of early mornings, in the tears no one sees, in the 1,000 choices you make when no one is watching. Every time you choose honesty over convenience, courage over comfort, truth over approval, you build. And this construction is eternal. There is no final form, only deeper layers, sharper edges, greater fire. The most powerful version of you is not buried, it is forged, one confrontation at a time. Walking the path of eternal becoming to live fully is not to arrive. It is to walk, with eyes wide open, into the unknown, with no promise except transformation. Eternal becoming, that is your nature, not stability, not predictability, but wild, sacred, relentless evolution. Each day you shed skin, each moment you leave behind a self that no longer fits. This is not inconsistency, it is integrity. To stay loyal to your growth instead of your past. Don't seek peace, seek motion. Seek discomfort that elevates, seek failure that teaches. The path has no end, and that is its glory. Confrontation as your greatest ally. Everything you fear facing is exactly what you must confront. The doubt, the shame, the buried rage, the voices that whisper you're not enough. Confront them, not with aggression, but with presence. Look them in the eye and say, you will not define me. Life will not stop testing you. Pain will not vanish. But when you choose confrontation, you turn obstacles into initiations. Each fear becomes a gate. Each failure becomes a stair. Confrontation isn't war against the world. It's an alliance with your becoming. Now, choose the fire that shapes you. You've heard the call. You've walked through the myths, the lies, the ruins. Now comes the only question that matters. Will you choose the fire? Not just once, but every day. Will you burn away what no longer serves? Will you speak what your silence has buried? Will you live with the intensity of someone who refuses to die unrealized? The world does not need more comfort seekers. It needs the self-forged. The ones who faced the abyss and did not look away. The ones who carry their shadow like a sword, not a secret. So choose it now, not someday, not later, now. Choose the fire that shapes you. Choose the will that births you. Choose the path that never ends. Because you were never born ready. You were born to become.